In the last tutorial we echoed is string A, and we know it is a string because, well, we created it and it is a string. However, the output was 1. Now, when you write, for example, when you start working with databases and you're writing a value as true, it will be written as 1. Now, when you return it, it will be returned as a string 1, not a Boolean 1. So this brings me on to the next topic, this tutorial rather, and that's typecasting. Now let's say a equals 1, and then we say if a echo Arsenal. I hope I don't lose some of you just because I support Arsenal. Okay, now this, although it equals, it actually doesn't equal that. Rather, because we've got a value, this was actually a bad test. Because we've got a value, this equals true. Basically, if it was null, this wouldn't evaluate. Go away. Oh, that's me, isn't it? Okay, so true. So basically, because it's a string, it's equal and true. However, some people may prefer to be to basically be more pedantic about the way they do things. So, ooh, whoops. Okay, why am I doing that? Boolean 1. Now they would, if they're working with an object, they can say A equals Boolean 1, so that they know that A will be either true or false. You can do the same also with int. With int1, so if we do var dump, so we can see the data types as well. Var dump basically is a way to dump arrays and object. When I install xdebug, we'll get a much nicer debugging environment. So in the meantime, we'll just do this pre home echo home echo, save that. So now we refresh the page and then we can see it's an int, and then what we can do now is we can make it a float. Command R. We can see there it's a float, and then we can make it a Boolean. I think bool does the same thing, but I prefer to use Boolean. So you can see there, that's what I was trying to get at earlier on. Also, if we do a 0, I think only a value of 0 when we typecast will return false. So let's do A just to test that theory. Okay, so as I said, so only a value of string 0 or the number 0 will return false. There we go. When it comes to numbers, some people are not too sure whether to use float or int val. Is it float val or int val? You know, this is what happens when you pass between JavaScript and PHP quite a bit. You do get some of the functions mixed up. Is float val right? Yeah, float val. Some people are not too sure whether to use float val versus what I was just doing there of float. Now this way is a little bit faster. I mean, I doubt it's going to make that bigger difference unless you're doing ridiculous database queries. But when you use typecast of like float and int as opposed to float val and int val, because float val and int val are functions, what you're gonna get is basically it has to run the function, whereas this was basically just gonna be float, and it's gonna be basically, you see what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think I've covered everything that needs to be covered, and as usual, thank you very much for watching this tutorial.